So it's my pleasure at this point to welcome up Jenna Summerhill.
Good afternoon. First of all, I would just like to say thank you so much for having me here today. It's been such a blessing to me and my husband as well. We have made so many memories the past few days here in Maryland and also traveling to DC. We've taken lots of pictures and seen lots of things that we never would have had the opportunity to do so if we hadn't been invited here today. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts for that. I'm actually from Monroe, Louisiana. It's a small town. I'm 29 years old. I'm a mother of two. I should have brought pictures because I love to show them off, but I left my phone upstairs. But I have a 3-year-old son named Case and a 5-year-old son. He'll actually be 6 tomorrow. His name is Cannon, and they're delightful. But growing up, I would say I was at first born being a little different. This is a birthmark, and it's been there my whole life. So looking different as a child was always an obstacle that I had to overcome. I know everyone looks differently, but when you have something that really sets you apart, it can be difficult at times because kids can really be cruel. But also growing up, I was always chubby. I was always the fat kid. So having a birthmark and being overweight was, a little overwhelming at times. So I would say my self-esteem was not always what it needed to be. I come from a great family, a great support system. I have wonderful family morals and values, and was taught right from wrong and to do the right things. But I say I'm a bit hard-headed. And as we all know, even though our mothers taught us that the stove was hot, we still had to test it out for ourselves. 5 months after graduating high school, I began a relationship with a man that was 13 years older than me. I was very gullible, low self-esteem, extremely overweight at this point, and he showed me a little of attention, and it was nice for someone that I thought cared about me. This relationship would continue for 4 years. He was a very manipulative person, more so emotionally abusive than physically. But he really made me feel like I wasn't worth anything. After 4 years of that, it kind of got old. I wasn't going anywhere. I was working a minimum wage, dead-end job that I knew would never get me anywhere. And so I decided that I was going to show him. I was going to be somebody. I was going to lose weight, and I was going to make someone out of myself and make my parents proud because they deserve that for what they had done for me. Growing up through a wonderful childhood, never needing for anything. They deserved, a better daughter than what I was. So I decided that the relationship was over with him. I began to lose weight. I lost weight very drastically, and after losing about 60 pounds, I found out I was pregnant. I moved back home with my parents. My parents are very encouraging. I got a job at a law firm, bottom of the totem pole, doing everything no one else wanted to do, but I was proud to do it because I had a job. But after working there for 5 years, I built myself up, I proved myself, I learned, and I became a supervisor there. So one of the girls that I was over, her name was Misty, and I had been single for a while now, really just was focusing on my son and just wanting to do what was best for him. I knew that he was everything to me, and I would do anything, to give him the life I had. He deserved it. And so anyway, Misty came to me one day, and her boyfriend worked at a company, and she said, "Brent knows this guy, and he's super, super nice, and just as nice as you, and I think y'all would be a perfect match." That Friday, Matt knocked on my parents' door. He introduced himself. Well, my little boy was very, very shy. He was 18 months old at the time, and he wouldn't have anything to do with anyone except Mama, Nene, and Poppy. But when Matt opened the door, he jumped right into his arms, gave him a hug and kiss, and he wouldn't let him leave. And so my mom kept him that night, and we went on a date, and we've been together ever since. So we were engaged 3 months after meeting and married 6 months after that. And then the following May, we had a baby boy named Case, and he's now 3 years old. And so When Case was 6 months old, he was hospitalized with the rotavirus. And seeing the nurses take care of him was just unbelievable. They just cared for him like he was their own. And they loved him as much as I did, and you could see that. And there were so many things that they had to teach me to do because, you know, they had anywhere from 7 to 10 other patients, and they definitely, you know, couldn't be in the room at all times. And taking care of him and, you know, making sure he didn't pull his IV out and just caring for him, it just blew my mind. And it was definitely something that at that point I decided that I could do. I just felt called to it. I went to the Workforce Investment Board and I filled out my application. And it was actually the day before the deadline. And so the next day, Miss Alice called me, who would become a very good friend of mine and like family to me. But she called me and had an interview, and it worked out. And I got focused. And it was more than a paycheck, and it was more than daycare. She became family to me. So at the end of the day, I want all of you to know that it's not just a job, that everything you say and everything you do and all the support you give, it means so much to us. Even though I had family support and I have so many people in my life that love and support me, there are so many people that don't. And we care about y'all just as much as y'all care about us. And so just know that y'all are making a difference. And I graduated second of my class with a 3.8 in honors. I also received the Clinical Award, which is an award that's given to only one person for the most outstanding person in their clinical experience. I've been a nurse full-time since July of this year, and I received the Employee of the Month award in October of 2013. So that was such an honor as well. So I would just have to say that God has blessed me in so many ways. I'm not finished.